Yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all having a great day so far. And yes, guys, it is finally here. Avengers Endgame is upon us. If you were lucky enough to see it yesterday like I was, then you know how good this movie really is. This is going to be my non-spoiler review. I'm not going to go into depth or anything, okay? I'm just going to be talking about some very vague things about the movie, what I liked, what I thought was a bit iffy, and what I wasn't too thrilled about, but nonetheless wasn't bothered by. So if you guys want spoilers, then I suggest waiting a couple of days for my spoiler review, which is probably going to be up later this weekend. But yeah, I don't want to keep you guys in the dark any longer. Let's get right into this review. I'm going to start off with what I absolutely loved about this movie, and basically anything after the first act, so basically the first hour or so. It's really good. Second act is really when the story starts picking up. First act's more what happened after Infinity War. So the real Infinity War Part 2 part of this movie is just in the first act. So if you want to know what happened immediately after the events of Infinity War, you're gonna get it in the first act. If you want to know how do they go about that, that's when you're gonna see the second act start to pick up the pace. The movie does end up turning out to be absolutely amazing in the third act, basically the entire hour. So the last act in all of its entirety is basically the single most greatest hour I have ever seen in a film. It is the best hour in any comic book film ever. It is up for grabs whether or not it's the best hour in any film. I would say maybe, possibly. There's a very good chance that it is. But then again, there have been a lot of good movies out there, but this is easily the single best hour in any comic book film. And there are some comic book films out there who are like 2.5 hours long, and this single hour is greater than the entirety of those films, which is just mind-blowing. I also really liked this was a little bit low on action, but it makes up for it immensely with the last act. And I'm gonna go on with the last act for a while, because I heard a lot of reviews. Everybody was talking about the last act, and I was like, man, I need to see what this buzz is about. And when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that buzz is well deserved. This is amazing. This is awesome. And some of the fan service in this movie, some people make fun of fan service. Some people say that fan service is stupid. It shouldn't happen. But I mean, when you have a franchise this big, the fans are kind of what got you there. So I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, maybe useful to, give the fans what they want. But I mean, there's some things that you don't know you want. There's some things you want and you get. There's some things you didn't know you wanted and you still get, and you realize I needed this. And there's some things you were like, I don't want this to happen. It doesn't happen. And some things that you didn't want to happen, they happen, and that's when you realize, man, this actually makes a lot of sense. I actually like this. Now, I was a little bit iffy on some parts. I will go more into detail with the parts in my spoiler review coming shortly, sometime very soon. But there's one thing in particular that I was like, as it moved on, I was like, okay, I kind of like that they didn't spend too much time on this, because if you've seen the movie, you're probably gonna know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen the movie, then I'm keeping it vague for a reason. But there was one thing in particular, and there's also some other things, but they're not that big of a problem. And then the only main negative for me really was the fact that the first act really drags on. Some people say it's just the beginning of the movie. I think it's the entire first act. The entire first act, if you just watch the first act, it's not that good. I mean, it has some okay moments, but other than those okay moments, if you remove those entirely, then this movie or the first act just doesn't really hold up that well. But yeah, that's pretty much as vague as I can keep it, guys. To really talk about this movie, you have to talk about this movie. You can't just let it go. You can't just see this movie and be like, yeah, no, I don't have to discuss this. Perfectly fine. No, you have to discuss this, because this is that type of movie. I've seen in some places people asking, which secret is harder to keep, spoilers for Infinity War or spoilers for Endgame. Spoilers for Endgame are really hard to keep because the stuff that happens in this movie is just, it changes everything. It really does. It's not that big, but when you really think about it, because when I came out of the theater, I was like, that was awesome, that was amazing. Some things I was just like, yeah, that was cool, but I wasn't really that invested in it. But then I really thought about it, and I was like, man, that actually got me. And I actually started getting sad. I was like, it hit me in the feels. Like, it didn't hit me while I was watching the movie, but when I started to think about it a little bit more, I was like, man, that actually kind of hurts. This is a movie that you can't just see once and then just let it go. This is a movie you have to see multiple times at the minimum too. I'm gonna go see it again. Yeah, that's pretty much as non-spoiler as I can keep it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Actually, don't leave a comment, because if you leave a comment, then there might be trolls who are going to try and spoil the movie for you. So yeah, I suggest if you haven't seen the movie, don't leave a comment. But if you have seen the movie, try not to spoil it for other people. Just let me know what you thought about the movie in general. Be as vague as possible, please. And yeah, spoiler review coming soon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.